Greetings. We are coming to you from Salt and Sand Studios in sunny but pretty cold Vermont. The melt is on its spring, and like the transformation that takes place with the earth, we often find ourselves in some transformation, maybe transformation that we have an aversion to, or a transformation we're attracted to. It gives us an opportunity to move a little inward. Thank you for checking sound and visual. It gives us an opportunity to work a little inward and become a bit more mindful of what's going on in our minds and our breath and in our bodies. We will take the time to look at the crocuses and the daffodils and whatever might be changing outside us, and we often admire that. Sometimes we're sort of affronted with the pollen that results from that. So thinking in terms of the breath and clearing out the energy and the energy lines and the sinuses. Today we're going to spend time on very mindful movement. If you have a cushion or pillow or block, you could grab that if that's beneficial for you, or a blanket, fold it up. But today, in one of our more unusual starts, we're actually going to start at the top of the mat standing. So I will join you there. Full transparency, my body is personally a little cranky today. So I'm accepting that and recognizing some of the limits, but also opportunity to transform and challenge that. So let the feet come bony hips width distance, outer edges parallel to the outer edges of your mat. Hands can drop by your sides, mountain pose. We'll move into mindfulness, perhaps the eyes at half mast with the drishti, your yogic gaze about 4 feet forward on the floor, or you could close the eyes. Before we spend time on the breath, notice the movement of the body. Become mindful of how the body moves even while standing. Mine tends to rock a little forward and backward. Becoming aware of how that's working in the body. What are the fingertips doing? What is the jaw doing? Now become mindful of the breath. Notice how it moves into the nostrils, the air, draws down to the lungs, maybe the temperature of that air, and notice how it moves out of the body and perhaps the temperature and moisture of that air on your upper lip. Feeling free to deepen the breath. As you breathe in, feel the breath fill all of the area behind the face. Allow the body to react to that and let the sinuses open up, the nostrils open up, clearing the pathways. Now see if you can notice all of this together, the combination of the breath and the body, and the movement of the body, even as you stand still in mountain pose. On the breath in, sweep the arms outward so they are coming right out of your shoulders by the sides. Spread the fingers nice and wide like wing feathers. Tucking the pelvis a little forward. Next inhale, reach the arms overhead. Maybe your drishti, even if the eyes are closed, lifts upward toward your thumbs. Breathe in, get tall. Exhale, hands together at your heart. Movement of the heart as the blood pumps. Lifting the heart toward the thumbs and the thumbs toward the heart. Notice the shoulders. Come back to the movement that is taking place, maybe inside the body, not just outside. And then circle back to the breath. Draw your attention to your thinking mind and consider an intention for this practice today. Yoga intermission together for 50 minutes, all total. Repeat your intention to yourself 3 times as I say the word resolve. 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 Drop your hands by your sides once more. Let the arms hang really heavy. Inhale, sweep your arms high overhead. Soften your knees. Exhale, hands through your heart for a fold, hinging at your hips.
Letting your head hang there, finding wider feet if need be. The knees soften so the belly is connected to the thighs. Drop your head. Imagine it is the heaviest part of the body, which generally it is. So let it be. Let gravity call toward it. Intertwine your fingers behind that occipital lobe, the nice round part of your head, and drop your elbows. Keep the belly connected to the thighs. That usually means the knees are bent. We're protecting the low back. Exhale, release the hands to the earth. Take an inhale. Exhale, lift halfway up. Hands glide to the shins, maybe the thighs. You have a long, flat back. We're going to pause here. Feel the collarbones open. Feel the belly draw in, tailbone down, sitting bones behind you. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale. Exhale, lift halfway up. You got to use the belly for this. Reach those sitting bones behind you. Drishti is downward. Breathe in. Exhale, forward fold. Another inhale. This time as you exhale, slinky roll all the way to standing. Take your time, nice heavy arms. When the shoulders stack over the hips, we find mountain pose just for an interstitial and the arms float high overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart. Keep the palms pressed together, send the arms forward. Lock the arms back into your shoulders. Tuck your tailbone forward. Inhale, arms wide. On an exhale, right elbow underneath the left, we find a little hug. And we scooch the fingers toward the shoulder blades. Some of us might be able to reach all the way around. We're working to stack the elbows and find a little hug. Energy into the heels. As you exhale, scoop the belly in, soften the knees. Draw your elbows toward your ribs, lower your head. Inhale, rise up, keep your hug. Now we're going to extend the left arm so it's moving, the fingers are moving out to the right. And we bend the right elbow so the palm of the right hand is in your face, right in your face. Maybe you imagine there's a little smiley face on it. We're going to draw the right elbow up. Spread both sets of fingers, and then squeeze the right forearm toward you. So we're opening up the left shoulder. Breathe in. Exhale, a twist to the right. You don't have to go very far. We're keeping the hips square to the front of the mat. Breathe in. Exhale, twist. Inhale, and twist. As you return to center, sweep the arms wide once again. We're going to lift them up overhead. Press the palms together there, then bend the elbows so the fingertips come to the nape of the neck or between the shoulder blades. It's a cool word, nape. The head presses back into the forearms like they're pillows. And instead of jutting our hips or our rib cage forward, we're going to draw the tailbone down, press the pelvis forward, and lift from the hips so the lowest ribs on your rib cage are tucking toward your bony hips. Inhale back to a cactus shape. Exhale, get wide. Inhale, arms wide. Exhale, a hug opposite way. Right arm over left. take a moment mindfully noticing if this side feels different from the other side. The mind feels a little tighter, but I'm not going to judge that. We find our little hug, a little softening in the knees. Exhale, scoop the belly in, drop the elbows, drop the head. We're rounding in the spine, nice big opening along the upper back. Inhale, rise up. This time, right arm extends to the left. The left elbow bends, should be just outside your tricep. Left elbow lifts. The palm is in your face, basically. Lift the elbow a little bit more and then squeeze the forearm toward you. We're opening up the right shoulder. Breathe in. Exhale, twist to the left. Keep your hips square to the front of your mat. Your right arm might feel like it doesn't even belong to you right now. Inhale, arms sweep wide. Palms face up, elbows bend, fingers touch the shoulders, and we find some circles with the elbows, giving a little bit of lubrication into the shoulders. Now that we've opened them up, we're going to add some mobility. Those circles come in opposite direction. We reverse direction again and make the circles as big as we can, like you're painting a huge canvas. Take your time, mindful of the movement and where the breath is helping. Reverse direction. I'm going to spread the arms nice and wide once again and drop them behind us with bent elbows. Intertwine your fingers, maybe the opposite way of your habit. Tuck the pelvis forward, soften your knees a little, and broaden the collarbones. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. That might be enough for you. Or maybe the knuckles draw downward as you extend the arms. Remembering, as always, this is your practice, not mine. I'm your guide. So if something doesn't work for you, you'll modify or do something else. We're going to bend into the knees, taking a bound chair pose, one of my favorite postures. It does so much for the body. Draw the belly in. Send the sitting bones behind the heels. Press the thighs toward each other, but they do not have to touch. It's as if they're rotating toward the center. Energy is in your heels. We're going to start there. Then we're going to lift the heels off the earth, coming to the balls of the feet. Drishti helps here, your gaze, single point of focus. If your head is lifted up, you might press the chin a little more toward your chest. Sink down a little bit, staying in this balance, belly super strong. Stay low, draw your heels down, a lower chair pose. Shoulders should be somewhere between the knees and the hips as opposed to shifted way over the knees or right over the hips. We take a big breath in. Exhale, fold over the legs. Take your time. Feel this mindful movement. Breath into the shoulders. Head is heavy. Exhale, hands release to the earth. Next breath out, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Next, exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Next breath out, draw the belly really strong, rise back up to standing. It's like a sunrise as we lift the arms to the sky. Then the sun sets, folding over our legs once more. Next breath out, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana, Uttanasana, forward fold. Mindful of the movement, taking it nice and slow and watching the breath. I'm going to step the left foot to the back of the mat. You might draw the knee in first, lift the leg, stretch it out, step behind you. Foundation really important. So even though we're going to come to our back knee, the first thing we're going to do is make sure we're stable for that. I'm moving my right foot out to the right, drawing my shoulders toward my hips. I can take a little bit more length front and back.
Drop the left knee to the earth. Untuck your toes. Right hand to the right thigh. Left hand stacks on top of it. Rise up. Anjana Asana, modified. Sink a little deeper into your front knee. I'm going to scoot my right foot forward a little bit so my right knee is directly over my right ankle. We'll move into Anjana Asana, dropping the hands by the sides to start, floating them wide and high overhead. Sink deeply into your front knee. Where are you feeling this? Mindful perhaps of the low back. We squeeze the left glutes. We activate the left hamstrings. Right hand comes to the right hip. We're really working the pelvis forward and sinking downward. Breath in, get tall. Exhale, a tilt over to the right. Drishti could move upward or forward. We're opening the heart toward the sky, opening everything from the left kneecap all the way to the left pinky finger. Keeping the right hand on the hip, straighten the left arm in front of you and spin more of the torso toward the right side, the right hip. And slowly open up the right arm. East-west pose. We're going to deepen this twist, left hand down onto the mat under your shoulder, right arm high. Mindful of what the right big toe mound is doing, should be pressed to the earth, and the top of the left foot. Right hand comes down to the earth, half split. Ardha Hanumanasana. Left hip over the left knee. Right leg lengthens if need be in front of you. Toes flow from the earth. I'm mindful of what my shoulders are doing, so I'm moving my hands back. That helps me extend the spine, keep it as straight as possible. As the heart and gaze reach forward, shoulders toward the hips, and a fold over the leg. You don't have to come very deep. Sole of the right foot plants onto the earth. Hands creep forward. Back toes tuck under. Take your time lifting the back knee off the mat. Find this sort of long runner's lunge. Pressing the left heel way behind. Sneaking that right knee forward. We're going to come to the long edge of the mat. Hands move over to the left. We spin on the right heel, toes in, heels out. Keeping the fingertips on the mat under the shoulders, breathe in a half lift. Press those feet into the earth. Lift the sitting bones. Exhale for a fold. Fingers point the opposite direction, walk between your feet. Hands walk back under the shoulders. Come onto the ball of the right foot and then spin the heel so that the right toes are pointing to the front of your mat. You might need to shorten your stance a little bit. I'm going to bring the hands to the hips, rise halfway up. I need to shorten my stance. Warrior two. Drishti over your middle finger of the front hand. And the feet sort of simultaneously pressing the mat away while the thighs draw the energy in. Front palm flips, reverse your warrior.
Mindful of what you're doing with the right side of the body. Mindful of the right knee. Mindful of the breath and the lift of the heart. Come back to the warrior two, arms, hands to your hips. Extend your front leg and bring your right toes pointing to the side, long edge of your mat again. Heel toe the feet in toward one another. So they're about shoulders distance. And we'll spin on the front heel again, allow it to point, the toes to point to front of the mat, and then shift the back foot so it's in a warrior one stance. Hips square to the front of your mat. So for me, that means making more space left to right between the feet. And we fold halfway down. Working our way into Parsvottanasana on the right side. Pyramid pose, maybe grabbing blocks or some other prop to find your way there. Press lots of energy into the heel of the front foot to draw that right hip backward. And use the whole outer edge of the left foot to lengthen that leg. Back foot steps up to meet the front. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Unravel all the way to standing. Arms lift high. Right fingertips take a hold of the left wrist. It gets a little tug before we tilt over to the right. Fingers twinkle and release toward the sky. The left fingers take a hold of the right wrist, a little tug, and exhale, tilt to the left. Inhale, rise up, cactus arms. Mindful of the movement, chair pose, keep your arms in cactus. Or you can draw the forearms together in front of you, finding a little power up between the shoulder blades. Exhale, forward fold over your legs. Inhale. Exhale, halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Right knee moves in toward the heart. We stretch the leg as far behind us as we can before stepping into runner's lunge. Adjusting as we need to. Mindful of the movement of the breath. Back knee drops to the earth. Setting yourself up, left hand on the left thigh, right hand on the back of the left, modified Anjana Asana. We take these moments to notice if the body is balanced. If we're feeling a little wobbly, left foot moves out to the left, and maybe a tiny bit forward. We activate the shoelace side of the back foot right onto the earth and the heel of the front foot before we drop the hands by the sides and float them wide and high, finding the full expression of Anjana Asana, our knee down lunge with a back bend. Left hand meets the left hip. Get tall on both sides of the body. Use the right glutes to protect your low back. Exhale to tilt over to the left. Don't forget about using the heel of the front foot. Mindful movement, mindful placement, placement with breath. Lift up nice and tall. Right arm reaches long in front. And we spin our drishti, our gaze, over toward the left as the left arm peels open. If possible, the gaze moves toward the left thumb. Belly still strong. Exhale, right hand to the earth, left arm high, or in my case, since my shoulder doesn't work that way,
heel of the left hand to the low back. We get long in the spine, and we use that space to twist on the breath out. Face forward, left hand outside the left foot for Ardha Hanumanasana, half split. Right hip over the right knee, and the left foot moves forward. Maybe the hands help it, the toes peel away. If you have a full split or you're working on that, feel free to take that here. Being careful, perhaps using a block under the left thigh and keeping your hips as square as possible to the front of the mat. Otherwise, we're drawing the spine super long, belly in, shoulders toward the hips before we achieve our deepest fold, even if that fold doesn't seem very deep. Sole of the right foot plants, hands move forward. I'm going to move my left foot back a tiny bit. Back toes tuck under, and the back knee lifts off the mat. We're in a long runner's lunge. Spin the back heel to the mat. The foot is parallel to the back of the mat, and we rise up, warrior two. Shoulders over hips. Juicy bend in your front knee. The knee moves away from the midline. Mindful of all of the body parts in their role in warrior two. The thighs are active, the inner thighs, the adductors draw toward each other. The outer edge of the back foot has a lot of energy pressing into the earth. The whole front foot, a platform. The left knee over the left ankle. It's a hip opener, not a back bend, so the spine is long. The shoulders are over the hips. Gaze is over the left middle finger. Arms long and parallel. Flip your front palm. Reverse your warrior. We're keeping our warrior two lower body. Opening up the torso along the left side. Lifting the heart, opening the underarm, the tricep. Return to warrior two. Hands to your hips. We're going to spin onto the back foot and hop it partway up the mat. Work to square your hips to the front of the mat. Moving our way into a halfway Parshva and then a full Parshva if that suits your body. We bend at the hips, really hinge at the hips, get long in the spine, and pause with a long flat back. Breathe in. Exhale all the way down or part way down using your blocks. Back foot steps up to meet the front. Unroll all the way to standing once again. Arms will lift high. Move into a chair pose, Utkatasana. Draw your hands to your heart. Slowly float the right knee upward. You're staying in your chair shape. In balance, not a big deal. Right ankle can cross above the left knee. Maybe sink a little deeper into your figure four. Right knee draws in, float into bird or airplane. Take your time. Mindful of our movement, of our breath, of our gaze. Step back, warrior two. Reverse the warrior. Hands windmill inside your left foot. Heel toe the left foot out to the left. Drop your back knee. Left toes point to the left. Now bend your right knee so the heel and the sole of the foot are reaching toward the sky. This might be enough for you for a quad stretch, or you might have the opportunity to reach around with the left hand. Intention is to take a hold of the ankle or the foot or your pant leg. Not working for me today, but sometimes it does. And we twist around with the belly. Draw the foot back to the earth, the hand back to the earth. We're going to step into a wide-legged fold at the front of the mat. Right foot outside the right hand. My mat came with me. Fingertips on the earth, maybe bent knees. Feet are not as wide as your mat. Left fingertips to the earth under your nose. Bend your left knee. Right arm can float high. We're pressing lots of energy into the outer edge of the right leg. Working on the IT band here. So that might mean it works better for you to bring the heel of the hand to the low back, or simply cross the forearm across the back. If you're not feeling any energy coming to stretch the outer part of the right leg, work for a flat back and twist from the navel. You can also extend your left leg. You can also move the feet closer together. Right hand releases to the earth. We take all those shenanigans to the other side. Bending the right knee. Left hand up or behind, and a twist to the left. Exhale, hand releases to the earth. Heel toe the feet toward one another. They can touch or not, your choice. We're going to move into Katas in the chair pose. And as we did before, the hands come to find one another at your heart. This time the weight shifts into the right foot. The left knee lifts up for a standing figure four. Left ankle crossing above the right knee. Perhaps sinking a little deeper into this posture. Maybe forearms to the shins. Left knee lifts toward the heart. We shift the heart forward, the left leg long behind. Airplane, bird, find your drishti, find your breath. Step into your warrior two. Mindful of any movement you need to make to get there and not being worried about that. Front palm flips, front palm flips, and reverse. Hands windmill inside the right foot. We draw to the ball of the back foot, heel toe the right foot outward, and then point the toes there. Drop the back knee. Maybe extending the space front to back, and then bending your left knee. And if you like, a twist to reach around with the right hand toward the foot, the ankle, or your pant leg. The foot meets the earth, as does the right hand. We make our way into a tabletop. Here we're going to send the sitting bones back to the heels. Go ahead and flip the hands so the backs of the hands are on your mat and the fingers point toward your knees. You can bring the knees together if that feels better for you. We're going to shift forward, lifting the hips and the sitting bones away from the heels. So you're coming to the backs of the hands. You're stretching out the backs of the hands, the thumbs, and the wrists, outside of the wrists. And if you have more to play with, you could do a couple things here. You could rock forward and backward. Depending on how intense this is for you, you might decide to stop. You can also make fists of your hands, which can make things more intense and then give you the opportunity to roll a little closer to the bend in the outer wrist. Keep drawing the belly in and up. This is as purposeful and mindful as any other posture that you have undertaken today. Draw all the way back to your heels. And we'll take the hands with the palms down this time. The fingers can either face outward, left and right, or more toward your knees. We rise back up, draw the palms to the earth. Take a moment to notice the change in the inner arm and the wrists, the thumbs maybe, perhaps even the insides of the fingers. And then if you like, once again, a little gentle rocking forward and backward, super mindful of how the breath, the cadence, and the movement help to stretch the inner wrists, the inner arms, the palms of the hands. Come back to a tabletop, so you might move the knees a little apart. Press the floor away, round the spine, scoop the belly, and drop the head. Tuck the tailbone forward. Your gaze is toward your thighs or your navel. Maybe twist the neck a little bit, nod the head, shake the head. Turn to a neutral spine. Float the right leg off the earth behind you and sweep it above the left calf. The foot comes outside the mat. The top of the foot, the shoelace side, drops down onto the floor. Slowly, mindfully, with your breath, glide that foot away and back so that the front of the right hip comes toward the left heel. You can draw onto your forearms. You might drop your head. Press the floor away with the forearms so you have some opening along the inner scapulas, shoulder blades. Then tuck the right toes under to float the right knee off the earth. See if you can send that heel farther away from you, deepening the stretch in the left glutes. Draw back to a three-legged tabletop. Then bring your knee to your nose, really pressing the floor away, lifting the belly to see if that knee can come closer to your chest. The knee returns to the mat. Maybe a little sway left and right feels good. You might take some hip circles. Make the letter C left and right, anything that feels like it works for your body, and you are mindful of its impact. We return to stillness in our tabletop to float the left leg long behind. Sweep it above the right calf. Drop the top of the foot, the shoelace side, onto the earth outside your mat. Glide it to the right and behind so that the left hip, front hip, comes toward the right heel. Forearms to the mat. Press the floor away, round the upper back. Tuck the left toes under, float the knee away from the earth. Reach the heel farther away from you, further opening up the right glutes. Return to a three-legged tabletop. Belly strong, breathe out, knee to nose. Pause to scoop the knee a little bit higher, press the floor away. Extend the leg, extend the neck, bring the knee to the earth. A modified child's pose, so the feet and the knees are parallel. You press the floor away with the heels of the hands, reach the sitting bones toward the heels, and drop your head. We're not in a full child. The arms are straight, and the head is dropped but not touching the earth. Come back to your tabletop. Bring your forearms to the earth so the elbows are under your shoulders. Knees are as wide as your hips and the feet as wide as your knees. We're going to find some cat-cow shapes here. You can move to the cow in as deep a back bend as you like, or keep it more neutral. Pressing into the floor with the forearms, drawing the mat backward with your forearms and your hands, the hips and the gaze lift. On an exhale, spine rounds, tuck the tailbone, tuck the head. Round between the shoulder blades, really press the floor away. Use the tops of the feet too. Inhale for the cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Neutral spine. One hand at a time comes underneath your shoulders, and we prepare for Anahata, inchworm pose. You keep the hips right over the knees. I'm going to back up a little on my mat. Press the tops of the feet into the floor. And then almost like a puppy or a cat working into their sleepy place, you're going to walk the hands forward until the forehead, chin, or chest comes to the mat. And if anything resists, you might go ahead and place a prop under your chest or under your head, or both. If you have grumpy shoulders here, you could bend the elbows and let the thumbs touch. You might notice over time with your breath, you find a bit more of softening behind the heart, from the back, which, if you're propped, might allow you to release the prop. You're going to scoop the belly in to lengthen the low back. Come all the way into a child's pose. If you choose Balasana 1, child's pose 1, the knees draw together. The top of the head comes to the earth, and the hands sweep around, perhaps coming into contact with your feet. Rise up, come to your seat. We're going to take the right heel underneath the left thigh, as close to the glutes as you can get it. Now, your choice, if you're feeling pretty mobile today in your hips, you could bring the left ankle outside the right thigh, and the closer you get the right heel to your sitting bones, the easier that is. We sit up nice and tall. You could also keep the left foot directly in front of the right ankle. We sit up nice and tall and exhale for a twist over to the left. This is our half Lord of the Fishes pose. I say it's ours. It's yoga's half Lord of the Fishes pose. Breathe and get super long in the spine as you exhale. Gaze moves over to the left, drishti, to the left, over the left shoulder. Maybe it doesn't make it all the way there. That's totally cool. Swing around to the front, extend your left leg on the mat. You'll adjust your right foot so it is either pressing energy into the left calf or the thigh. But But you want to be sitting up as straight as possible to make this work for you. Knee drops out, we sit up super tall, maybe a bend in the left knee, we take a walk forward over the left thigh. Aiming for a long back. Inhale, lift up. Shift over onto the right hip and swing the left leg behind you. We're working our way into pigeon. If you need a prop because the right hip is off the mat, like mine, and place something underneath it. We stretch that left leg as long as we can behind us. Untuck the toes and fold over the front shin. Getting as comfortable as we can without a lot of energy into the shoulders, without a lot of sinking in between the shoulder blades. Hands walk back toward the hips. And we swing the left leg around to the front. And we switch our twist, sole of the left foot or heel of the left foot right under the right thigh. Taking your time to move into your half Lord of the Fishes pose. A twist and a heart opener. Coming front and center, Janu Shirshasana. Right leg extends. Square the hips. Set the left foot. Sit up tall. Fold. Inhale, upright. A shift to the left hip and thigh as you swing the right leg around for half pigeon. Setting yourself up, and maybe you need a prop on this side if you didn't on the other, or maybe you don't need a prop where you did on the other. Really work that right leg straight out of the right hip. Hands walk back toward the hips. We reach the legs around in front, then scoot the soles of the feet back to the earth. Knees to the sky, palms on your knees, a rounding of your spine. Roll onto your back. The knees hug in toward the chest. And your choice, a happy baby, legs up the wall, or some knee circles. I like happy baby or knee circles. It gives a little opportunity for a massage on the low back. Move into your final resting posture for Shavasana. That might mean knees bent or legs extended with something underneath your knees or your neck. You can always place a weight of some sort, a block or a blanket on your torso or your thighs. There's space between the feet, space between the arms and the side bodies. The palms look upward
as if they await something to learn or to relax, to receive. Big breath into the nose. Release it out your mouth. Return your mindfulness to the breath and the body. Make your way all the way onto one side, maybe bending one knee at a time first. On your side, return to your intention. And with that in mind, press yourself back to a seat. Here, the palms will find their home together at your heart. Drishti, your yogic gaze forward and down, or maybe eyes are closed and the gaze is inward, up toward your center forehead. We'll close our practice with a chant of Om, sharing all of the benefits of this practice, this mindfulness, this mindful movement, this mindful breath, outward to all those who might benefit from it. Deep breath in. Om. Thumb knuckles connect with your third eye center, right in the center of your forehead. May all beings live mindfully. May they move mindfully. May they act and speak and think mindfully. Namaste. Thank you to you and all the other terrific people who have been practicing with Salt and Sand, either over Zoom on Tuesdays and Fridays or YouTube on Saturdays or whenever. Folks from all over, Colorado, Florida, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Pennsylvania, and more, have been enjoying practicing with these videos, and I look forward to sharing more with you. My name is Karen. Be sure to like, share, and if you have funding, donate through saltandsandstudios.com. Have a great remainder of your day or evening, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.